Claire here from Rainbow Acrylics. I'm going to do another painting with the pink, purple and blue straight pour cups that I've been doing recently. I did a painting a couple of days ago, and you might have seen the video already, where I layered up 6 individual cups, and my plan on my canvas was to puddle the 6 cups in the centre and then tilt it out. When I did it, I put 3 cups on, and then it soon became very apparent I'd massively overestimated the amount of paint I needed. So I only ever used 3 cups, so I had 3 left. So what I've decided to do is have another attempt at that. The same size canvas, 50 by 50. I'm going to half the amount of paint in each cup, so still do 6, half the amount of paint. So this time with the plan of actually getting all 6 cups puddled in the centre of the canvas to tilt it out. The big difference I'm going to do today, though, instead of doing a pink cup, a blue cup and a purple cup, I'm actually going to include all 3 colours in each cup. To separate the colours, I'm going to use the gold and white as normal, but I'm adding silver. I just wanted another sort of quite neutral colour to separate them all. And then the idea will be that because there's going to be the 6 puddles in the middle, when I tilt them out, I'm hoping they're going to make some lines to make a sort of flowery effect. So I've already mixed up all my paints. I've mixed them 50-50 pouring medium and paint. I've had to add a little bit of extra water to the gold and to the magenta colour because they're quite thick. The pouring medium is my homemade pouring medium, which is PVA glue and water, 2 parts PVA glue, 1 part water. So I've got my paints ready, so I'll get you down and having a look at this, and then we'll start layering up the cups. Right, so I've mixed up all my paints. I didn't mention earlier that they are all Montmartre paints, apart from the silver, which is the Pebeo Studio Acrylics. When I was mixing them, I was struggling to work out if they were all the same consistency, and I remembered watching something on YouTube once, I can't remember which artist it was, and she said that the consistency she uses for straight pours is the consistency when your stick stands up in the paint. So can you see there that they are all just right in the centre? So I tried this earlier and they all stood up apart from the blue, which just fell over. So I added a bit more paint to thicken it up, and now it stands up really nicely. So I think they're all a reasonably good consistency. The metallics are always thicker, and I find it really difficult to judge how thick they are, because when you do the little ripple of paint over the top of the surface, it always looks so different than when you do it with an opaque colour. So I tend to go and feel a bit. I do lots of stirring and see if they feel the same. Pretty difficult to tell really, but I think I'm more or less there. So this is the order I'm going to pour the paints in. As I said, I'm going to do 6 cups with all of these colours in. So I will, in fact, I want white to start with. I always have a white to start with, so I will just move these here, move them along a little bit, and then I'm just going to start layering them. I'm going to do all 6 at the same time. So I'm going to start with white, a little bit of white in the centre. The first goes in first, that means there's a little bit of white in the centre. I'm going to pour down the edge of the cup. Now I only want to fill these cups half full, so I've got too much paint here, I know, but I will need paint to put around the edges of the puddles to help them flow, so I won't be using all of these colours. So all the cups are now layered, about half full. That took 2 layers of each colour. I'll show you that. It looks so pretty like that. I love seeing the layered cups. So I'm going to get the canvas now. Right, I'm all ready to start. One thing I always do before starting is just make sure my canvas is level. So I place a level on the four edges, the four wooden bars of the canvas, just to make sure that it's level. I've got push pins underneath my canvas, so if it's not level, I can push those in a bit harder, pull them out, just try and adjust it. Right, let's start. I'm going to put a nice big puddle of white paint in the centre. I want it to be quite a large puddle because I'm going to be pouring a lot of paint on top. So I'll put the paint on and then I'm going to just tilt it out a little bit so it covers quite a nice big area. And that will mean when I put the puddles on top, it will push the white paint out instead of rolling over itself when the lines roll outwards. Loads and loads of air bubbles in this. I only just mixed the pouring medium, so I think that's probably why. It's the air bubbles from the pouring medium, not the paint. Right, so, I feel nervous but excited because I really want it to work this time. So one at a time, I'm going to just puddle them quite near the edge of this white circle because they will naturally move in a bit. When I pour, I'm going to pour from the area where the colour's touching the side where I poured it into the cup. Alright, let's just go for it. I'm going to twist round as well. Love the colours. I think so far they're looking really pretty together. I was worried that I had too much paint again, but I'm optimistic that I might have got it a bit better this time, a bit more accurate. Oh, I'm excited. These colours look fab. Now, 2 more cups. So, option 1 is to try and get 2 more puddles in there. Option 2 is to put 1 there and 1 in the centre. I've got a massive white area in the centre, which will dominate. So I think I'm answering my own question. So I think I'm going to do 1 puddle here and then 1 puddle in the centre. that area in the middle is just too big. I'm just going to have to go for it. What will be, will be. Just taking my time over that central one a bit more because obviously that's going to be right at the centre of the design. Right, done it. So far so good. Now what? So I'm going to spread some paint around the edges here so that I can tilt it more easily. What I'll probably use is the leftover bits in the cups. I'll use these bits first. It's quite interesting how when I'm pouring the central one, it doesn't touch the other colours at all. It just pushes that white. So I definitely think I've done the right thing by putting another one in the centre. It won't have the effect I was looking for, but I think it will work better that way than... I just didn't want a massive white section in the middle. So I'm just going to put some extra paint on the canvas now, around the edge of the puddles. So here comes the tricky bit. I'm going to try and stretch this out. I'm going to go quite slowly. Yeah, I've got loads of paint on here. Which is good. So to start with, I'm just tilting it towards each petal, each block of, each puddle, I don't know what you want to call them. And any areas where the pattern is rolling over itself, I'm just putting some extra paint down. This canvas is really heavy. There's a lot of paint on here. Right, I am really quite liking this. It's just so bold, so bright. Not what I was expecting. I say this every time now. Just need to sort the composition out a little bit because there's quite a bit of white here. It's a bit paler, but quite a dark corner over there and quite a fussy edge here. So I'm just thinking I might just tilt it back this way a little bit to try and get it a bit more, a little bit more uniform. And my only other concern is that this canvas is incredibly heavy. There's a lot of paint on it. And if you have a lot of paint, there's risk of it cracking when it dries. So I'm just wondering if I should be tilting off some more paint. I might tilt off over here because that's quite a big white section, which I'm not as keen on. And by doing that, it's opened up the section here a bit more. Wow, some of this detail is amazing. I've got cells. I wasn't expecting to get cells, but actually there's some sort of multicoloured cells. That cell has got pink, gold and purple in it. That is an amazing cell. And the same here, some slightly stripy cells. Right, what to do? Anything or nothing. Now I feel like it needs to come back this way a bit more. I think I'm going to roll off a little bit of paint off this edge because I think it's a bit fussier, and then stretch it back again. And I'm not short on paint. I've got a lot of paint on here. Oh, I'm so happy with this. What a bright, bright painting. Right, I'm happy with the composition now because that central puddle has gone off this side and now it's gone off this side. So I just feel that it works better now. I just still feel like it needs to come off here a bit more though. I don't want to mess it up. I really, really like this. It's so cool. It's so different. It's so bright. Right, I'm done. Not touching it. This is it. Finished. Just going to finish the edges and then that's it. Done. So this is it. I hadn't quite finished when I stopped filming before. I tilted it off the bottom again. So now you'll notice that that middle puddle actually goes off all four edges, and I just think composition wise that worked better. I just can't believe how striking it is, how bold and bright and vibrant it is. I could not be happier with this. I absolutely love it. I love the edges. Look at that really thick, rich colour. You'll see that there's actually drips along the bottom. I need to take a stick and wipe all those drips off. If I don't, the paint will just keep sliding because the weight of the drip will pull it. Let's go in for a close-up. So bottom left corner, if I can just focus in on that, look at those lines. What you can't see with the camera is that they've got this gold shimmer to them. Just look amazing. And I really like those blue cells around the edge of that blue section. They're just really unusual. Let's go up. Just look at the brightness. I'm just bowled over by how separate all the colours have remained, and that's because the paint was nice and thick. If the paint was thinner and runnier, all the colours would have merged. They wouldn't have stayed separate like this. Let me show you my favourite ever cell. Look at that. Focus in on it. A stripy cell. 3 colours in one cell. I'm not sure I've ever achieved that before. This gold, it looks very yellowy on the camera, but it's beautiful gold. So when it's dry, it will just shimmer. And there's also a lot of silver in this, but you can't really see the silver at the moment. I think that's the silver section there. I think we'll only really see it once it's actually dry. That looks like a tree trunk cut in half, cross section. And let me just go into the centre. It's a very busy centre. All those folds of paint. And I like the blue. You've got lines within the blue, different shades within there. So happy with it. So I think I say this every time, but it is nothing like I intended, like I expected. But I'm really happy with it. Love this. Right, I'll show you it dry next. So this one is dry. I think this is one of my favourite ever paintings now. I really love it. It's just so bright and so striking, and I can't work out where to look first on it. I just think it's so interesting. You can see there's a lot of gold on there, and the gold, it just shimmers. It's just eye-catching. It's just really, really beautiful. I think the other reason it's so eye-catching is because of the contrast between the pink and the white there, the gold and the white, just the really bright, stark lines, light colours and dark colours next to each other. But then actually in the middle here, you've got a lot of overlapping of colours that you can see that there's white under there, but there's like a very, very thin layer of blue over the top, which is really interesting. And same up there actually, same in the top left corner. You've just got a lot of, if you look really closely, there's just a lot of patterns, a lot of lines, a lot of details. Yep, and some cells there. So there is a stripy cell. And then over here, my favourite ever cell, my first ever really stripy cell. Yeah, I'm just so happy with this. Really, really unusual. So please let me know what you think. I'd love to know if you've got any comments about this. Please leave me a message. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. Bye.